Today we're doing a review between the Ekster Parliament and Senate. This is good. Stay tuned. Welcome to Walletopia. For transcripts and other fun surveys, go to walletopia.info. Today we're going to do a comparison between the Ekster Parliament and Senate wallets. We've done individual reviews of both of these in the past with links above as well as down in the notes, and we'd encourage you to look at those. We believe it would be useful to put them side by side and determine why there is a disparity in the final ratings between them, since they appear to be so much of the same type of wallet. When reviewed, the Senate ranked 39 out of 50, while the Parliament rated 31 out of 50. So let's quickly walk through the differences and why they received their ratings. Now, for quality, the Senate received a 4 and the Parliament received a 3. Our quality rating system is almost always based on the materials used, construction, and so forth, but how these materials were applied created a unique situation. For these wallets, it was due to the perception of quality through final presentation of these wallets. Both wallets use top grain leather sourced from tanneries in Europe, and although the quality of leather may be the same, it's very, very thin due to the need to work around these slider box mechanisms without appearing too bulky. However, by showing more leather on the Parliament wallet, the extreme thinness of the leather was really exposed and it kind of looks cheap. Whereas the Senate, since it's all attached to the card box slider, conforms to look more like you'd expect. Now, with the Senate not trying to show off more leather, it actually looks more balanced and thereby increases the quality perception. Now, that is a very subjective observation by us, and if it was strictly based on materials, their rating would be the same. All right, let's talk about price. The Parliament was and is more expensive than the Senate as of this recording, and it received a lower rating of a 2 versus a 3 for the Senate. The Senate pricing, while slightly higher than we would have hoped for a product like this, its rating did kind of border on a 2. It was still within acceptable pricing for what we'd expect, so it received a 3. Now let's do a quick side-by-side evaluation of these wallets. As we can see with the Parliament here, it has a no distinct feature on the outside of the bifold of it because you open it up. Once opened, you'll notice that on the inside we have 2 card slots here. Each card slot can hold definitely 1 card, maybe 2. These are the RFID protected areas here. Now within the bifold of the Parliament, we have its cash band here, which is similar to the cash band that is on the exterior of the Senate. Now if we flip the Parliament over, we'll notice that it has an exterior card slot here. It can handle 1, possibly 2, and on the flip side of the Senate, it also has a card slot on the exterior. Now, with these two, of course, they have the slider mechanism here in the bottom, which exposes the cards up through the top through the card slider. Both have the same card slider box and mechanism, and they can hold both 6 non-embossed cards each. If you have embossed cards, which is where you see the raisedness of the plastic that's pushed through, it's about 4. Now, you would think that these wallets are essentially the same at this point, but you would be wrong because of the Senate and what it provides. So in addition to all the other features we talked about that are in comparison to what we have in the Parliament, it has this card deck that you can then open up here and put 12 to 15 more cards right in here. So at that point, you not only have the 6 at the top, you have cash or more cards in the front, a card slot in the back, you have 12 to 15 more cards you can place in the middle. And because of that, gives this Senate a far superior view, and that's the review of the features of these two wallets. As mentioned, at the core of both wallets are card slider mechanisms. The only difference is how card capacity and presentation is built around the boxes, with both being able to store up to 6 non-embossed cards, as we mentioned in the box. Both wallets received a 4 in the rating for features because of these similarities. Now, while discussing card slider mechanisms, let's look first at the trigger. Okay, they both have the same trigger here at the bottom. It's this right here. And there are reports that the Ekster triggers have a tendency to break. Now, while not desired, that shouldn't be unexpected since you're dealing with technology infused in a wallet. However, not all trigger mechanisms are created equal, and that's why I want to show how the mechanism and the trigger of the Ekster trigger and slider box are well thought out on all of their products. All right? And how I do that is by showing you this. I have here a $15 aluminum box slider here, not plastic, okay? And you might think that aluminum is better, but due to construction and size, the proper plastic can be actually applied, for example, in the Ekster products, can be more advantageous. All right, so back to the trigger. This trigger mechanism is a little different here in that it would have a greater chance of being caught on something in a pocket, a purse, or clothing, and probably breaking off, as you can see here. But I also want to show you how the Ekster has worked to ensure that cards placed in the box stay put when and how they operate more elegantly when they're coming out, versus a solution that didn't have as much thought put into it, a cheap slider like this. So let me grab 6 cards and put them into this $15 wallet. You can see they're in there, 6 cards, and if I use this trigger, you can see they come out, and they come out nicely. But if I put a little more effort into this, you start losing cards, and if you do this even more harder, you start losing all kinds of cards, and they come out of this. Now, if I come back and say, let's do this with an Ekster wallet, and I try this here, I push, and they just come out nicely, and they're fanned. I push harder, and they come out the same. I push even harder, and they still come out the same. And the reason why is because they put some effort into thinking about what to put inside of this box. They have rubber on both sides that provides friction, that as the card is being pushed, it only goes so far, and it goes out cleanly, and it keeps it within bounds of the box and not flying out. So that's something to look at and consider with the Ekster compared to others that you may come across. All right. Now, coming back to comparisons, as demonstrated in the feature review, what really sets the Senate apart from the Parliament is the larger capacity card carrier. This piece right in here we talked about. The Parliament is limited by the single strap that is on the inside, and it's sewn to the back, and overall provides 2 additional slots over the standard Senate with the pocket strap. But that's before you actually begin to load cards right here into this area here. And ultimately this means that even though the Senate looks like it would hold less, it's very slim, it can hold 3 times more than the Parliament. Now, if we're talking about usability, the Senate really shines as it's easier to get in and out of your pocket faster than the bifold Senate due to the propensity of the cover getting caught on something because it doesn't have any snap closure to keep it closed, or watching or catching on something while extracting and putting it back in your pocket. So even though the individual scores were close, they were still far apart due to the weighting of the individual categories. Now again, the final ratings were the Parliament was 31 and the Senate was 39. And finally, if you regard these as minimalist wallets, the Senate really comes out ahead due to the slightly less bulk than the Parliament. Now ultimately, however the choice comes, your choice, it comes down to your preference of style and capacity carry needs. If you have any other questions about this or comments, please let us know, put them down below. Please ring the bell, subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.